So what we're going to do first is we're going to run a correlation matrix, and then we're going to run a correlation, and then we're going to run a correlation matrix. And so remember what we're looking at. We're looking at, is there a relationship or not, right? That's the essence about correlation. Also remember that correlations show that there's a relationship and what the strength of that relationship is, but doesn't mean that one thing is causing the other. So let's look at that. We're going to run a simple correlation here, and we're going to go to Analyze, Correlate, and run a bivariate correlation. And what we're going to look at is that mortgage amount. And we're going to look at that in terms of age. And we're just going to simply say, I want to know if there's a relationship between someone's age and the amount of mortgage that they have. Click under Options, we'll get the means and the standard deviations. And that should be that. And we'll click OK. And what we get is that there seems to be a negative correlation, which means that as age increases, mortgages decrease, and it's a moderate. It's a low to moderate effect, low to moderate relationship. It is statistically significant. So one of the things is that there does seem to be a relationship. But one of the things that you may want to think about is, did we filter out people who are children? And so let's add to our filter that we used before. We're going to go and age. Oops. And we'll say greater than 18. Greater than 17, rather. And let's just rerun that. And go to Analyze, Correlate, Bivariate. All of this is remembered by the system. It does change the results. And so the relationship is still still there. But first of all, it's number one, smaller. And I apologize because I misread that. It's 0. That would be a weak relationship, not a moderate relationship. On this one, it's a weak relationship, but it's not significant. So it does change the results. So how you filter does matter. All right. So now, one of the things, it's nice to do bivariate correlation, but when you're looking at variables for a regression analysis, sometimes you want to look at the big picture. And what I often like to do is I often like to get what's known as a correlation matrix, where I just take the variables and I just begin to look at them. And so I go to Correlate, Bivariate, and we'll keep these two, and we're going to add a couple. We're going to add household income. We're going to add, we have age in there. And the usual number of hours worked. Oh, we're going to add a home value. That was the other one. We're going to add house value. And that all should work. Again, it remembers everything else we had done, getting the means and those things. Click OK. And what you get is you get the same thing you got before. So between first monthly mortgage and age, we still have that relationship. But you also get all the other relationships, and you get it in a matrix. And one of the things is that this, you can look at this as a mirror. So this is the same thing as on the top end of this line and the bottom end of this line. And so for some of these relationships, like this is a moderate relationship and it's statistically significant. This is a weak relationship and it's statistically significant. And so you have some significant relationships, and you have some relationships that are not, like this one with age, with age and household income. First of all, it's weak. Second of all, it's not significant. And so it begins to kind of say, okay, what variables might work well in my regression, and what variables, just may not be what I'm looking at. And so you can make those decisions from here. But that's how you run a correlation matrix, and you would report the correlations that you have. R is the value that you would report. R equals whatever, like in this case, R equals 0.489. P is less than 0.001. The relationship is statistically significant. So there is a relationship between household income and the amount of your first mortgage. And so, and first mortgage being the primary mortgage that you have. And so you would report that as a relationship. You wouldn't report that it causes it, you just report it as a relationship.